Hi, everyone, and welcome to the End of Life Journey and Beyond, the Sands of Time. My name is Lisa Strahs-Lorenc, and I am a Bereavement Support Specialist. And it's so good to see you, Susan. It's been a while.
So great to see you, Lisa. Well, you've been traveling like a social butterfly around the United States. So one place, but
One place.
you've been there enjoying your snowbird time a little bit. So
I
I'm
have.
so happy you're back.
Thank
And
you.
we have some great shows in store for you coming in the near future. Some a little different than others, like today's. Okay, so this is going to be a topic that we have not talked about yet. But I want to first say hello, everyone. I'm Susan Capurso. I'm an end-of-life doula and legacy specialist. And I want to thank you for joining us today. So today we're going to dive into a topic that might seem a little morbid at first. Look at you smiling, Lisa, but trust us, it's fascinatingly unique. That's what I could say about this. So we're exploring the unconventional and sometimes downright wild ways that people choose to be remembered after they've crossed over that bridge and left our world. So many different things we're going to throw out at you today, from becoming part of a coral reef to being launched in space or even being transformed into a vinyl record, right? The options are really endless for your final resting place, and just as diverse as life is in itself for all of us. So buckle up as Lisa and I are about to take you on a journey through many extraordinary ways on how to handle your earthly remains. And who knows, you might just find an idea that resonates with you. You might think that we're really going cuckoo, but I promise you we're not. Um, and it might resonate with your soul and give a whole new meaning to the way that you leave your mark on the world. So just remember to think outside the box, or should we say, outside the coffin?
Yes. Yes, that's
I
right.
made I made a funny. I didn't know if I should include
Very
that.
good. Very good.
Okay.
Very
But
good.
let's let everybody know why. I've written 3 books. I'm a 3-time author, and in one of my books, I have quite a few chapters on some of the things we will talk about today. So I had a little background experience on these things. However, Lisa recently met somebody and was so excited to share what she had learned. So, Lisa, tell us a little bit about that experience for you.
Sure. So I'm in a large retirement community down in Florida where we go for 2 months, and we belong to a club called the Humanist Club. It discusses many topics, always very interesting presenters, always very interesting discussions about very many different topics. Um, and this one was really couched in a way that was incredibly entertaining. So it was called Ways to Go, Options for What to Do with Your Body After You Die. That's what it was called. And this guy, Rod Broker, was a pastor many years ago and now has been doing this talk for different communities. Um, and what I loved about it is that as we sat down, there were cartoons that were on his presentation, part of all his PowerPoint slides. And they were funny. And we're all laughing. And here we are laughing at these incredible comic strips. And I'm just going to give you one example. There's a pastor that's in front of the congregation and a huge oversized coffin, like giganta. And he says, and he was always claustrophobic. He was known for being claustrophobic. So that gives you an example of the kind of humor that he adds to something like this discussion. It's so interesting that he couches this in that kind of way.
Context,
Um,
yeah. And
and
you can do that though, and we can do that as
yes,
human beings now.
yes, yes,
That it's not a conversation to have after. So if this
that's
is
right.
something that resonates with you, write it down, put it in your wishes, put it in your talk to your family about it,
Yes,
and do these ahead of time because it's not
yes,
something to talk about later on. So we can
that's right.
laugh about it now.
That's right. That's right. And all the cartoons were really good. They were tongue in cheek, but very well done. And it resonated with all of us. And it is something to think about, especially because most of us have certain wishes, and these wishes should be acknowledged, and our families should know what we want. It's important. Um,
And
I,
believe it or not, Lisa, and I think you know this too, that more and more people are questioning and not so much as wanting to be buried under the ground in a coffin as much, a lot of people still do,
yeah,
but as much as um, decades and decades ago. I mean, that
right.
was the thing. You bought a family plot and you had, 5, 10 coffins underneath that one section, and
Yes.
that's what people did, right?
Yes, yes. And now there's environmental concerns. There's, other people's feelings about land. There's so many ideas. It's really interesting. He said that by 2030, 70% of people are going to choose a cremation versus a traditional burial. That's what
Wow.
he
I didn't
said.
know it was that high, but I knew
I
it
didn't
was
either.
getting high.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
very, very interesting. And of course, down in Florida, that's, retirement world down there. So this conversation is a really important one.
Did it make you think twice about your wishes, Lisa?
No, because I already knew what my wishes were. You see, most people, I'm hoping, do make it clear to their friends and family what they want. I've certainly discussed it with my family, and they know. We made our decisions. My husband and I made our decisions as well, and I knew what he wanted. So I think it's a really important conversation. I know that some people are not comfortable with it, but I think it is important to start thinking about it because you never know. And obviously, it's for them, more than for you, but there's certain things that are important to you that should be acknowledged. And if
Right.
your family doesn't know, it's such an emotional decision at the end, then it can't wait like that. It's
Yeah.
too it's too difficult then, right?
Right. Unless you're having the classic burial and that's what you want and your family knows about that. So some of these things are way outside the box.
Mhm.
Some of the
Yes.
things I pulled today. I didn't put as many in my book, of course. I put a few of the more lighter ones in the book. There were some pretty wild ones when I was doing my research this week.
Yes.
And one of really actually just one of them, I'm determining whether I should tell you or not. I don't know. It was a little bit crazy, a little bit too something the Tibetans do. And later on, maybe I'll share that with you or not. We'll see. So let's bounce some things off each other. What
Yeah.
were a couple
I
suggestions
want to
that
start out with traditional burial.
you
Obviously, that is a an option for people. My cousin's husband just died, and it turns out that it's in the same cemetery as my parents. And I promised her that because I wasn't there, I promised her that I would go to see him. And uh, she she felt comforted by that. And I know many people who religiously go and visit. That's what they do. I'm not into that, but my parents are buried in a cemetery with a lot of other relatives, and I have another cemetery that's a very old cemetery over by the Queens Brooklyn border, um, really old, and I used to go there just to say I had gone there, and that's where my grandparents are and some aunts and uncles are and all. Um, and that's something that is very personal. And people bring flowers, or, in Judaism, people put stones, rocks on the headstone. That's also
something
tradition.
new that they're doing? It's probably for quite some time now, and I don't remember the name of the company, but people have told me about this, and I haven't actually done it myself, but they put some type of a QR code on the headstone.
Wow.
And you hold your phone up to it and it takes you to a recording that tells you all about that person, a little
Wow.
bit about their personality, who they were, and
Wow.
yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. I know that they've been doing that for some time on the east end of Long Island. I'm not sure if it's available in all cemeteries.
Wow. That's really nice.
Mm,
What a great idea. I love that. I love that.
yeah.
Really nice. Wow. Well, what he did was he started talking about different burials because there actually are what they call green burials. So, it might be in a prairie creek or in a meadow. There's all kinds of plant-based things that you can do with your body. There's even a seed pod where the corpse is tucked inside the seed pod and planted. There's biodegradable things.
There are
Um,
quite a few biodegradable. So
yes,
I want to get into that a little bit because
sure.
there's one that you can order, and we're not giving out specific names of companies today,
Yes,
but if you liked it, you do your research and you can
sure.
find them. So one of the biodegradable urns is filled with tree seeds. Okay, and I don't know if you can pick out a certain particular tree or maybe it's according to your area and your environment. Some trees do better up here, some do better down south. And in that, it allows you to plant their ashes, and that tree will grow in your yard. So that's one of the ways, the biodegradable that you can do. And there's also a biodegradable urn, of course, if you're going out on a boat and
Right.
you have a ceremony on a boat. And this way it just kind of breaks away in the ocean and you're not throwing an urn. You don't have to throw the ashes out
Right.
going all over the place and the wind's blowing this way and that way. I've had that experience, by the way.
Wow. 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 There's also whole body donations. Some people
Yes.
want to, help science, research and all. And so there's all kinds of, um,
Okay, so I'm
you
going
know,
to give you a couple examples
okay.
of that. Okay. One is there's companies, I don't know, one company, 10 companies, I don't know, but it's called mummification, actually, where they preserve your body through modern mummification for potential revival later on, generations to come. So, some people believe that our lives will come back that way. There's something called plastination, which is to have your body preserved and posed actually for not generational, I'm sorry, educational purposes and artistic displays.
Wow.
So that I found a little bit crazy. I got the chills on my neck a little bit.
Yeah.
There's one called permission. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. And it's freeze drying. They freeze dry your body with liquid nitrogen, and then it vibrates into a powder that you can use for eco-friendly burials as well. There's resomation, which they dissolve your body using heat, pressure, alkaline chemicals, and it leaves only the bone fragments. Okay, so you could do something with those bones, whether it's an artistic way or bury them in your own way. There's also composting. We all know what composting is, and this is when your body will naturally decompose in nutrient-rich soil that you can then use for gardening. Okay, is everybody still with me, or did click stop?
Now
Because
don't
I get it. I get it.
now
There's
don't for-
aquamation, where they use water and alkaline chemicals to reduce your body to bone fragments, to
right,
use them in an eco-friendly way.
right.
So yeah, I just wanted to make a point that there's just not one way to do that. There are
True.
several ways and for reasons why people do that.
It's true. Getting back to body donations, in the back of your license, there is an organ donation thing that you can check off. And if you would like, your organs to go, to science, or to be donated to others, it's a
Yes.
standard thing to check on your license plate, on your license.
I'm glad you brought that up. Um, I went through an ordeal. My sister had been addicted to prescription medications for a long time. And when she had passed, I wanted her to do something good in the world with her life. She had left 3 young children behind.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they came in, live on in New York, live on something. Oh my gosh, it's almost 10 years ago now.
Wow.
But they're a very, very good, reputable place in New York City. So they came in and they sat with me in a room, and I didn't expect it. And they sat with me for an hour and a half.
Wow.
And they were so good at what they did. At one time, I had thought about doing a little bit of what they're doing, because it was just amazing how they spoke to me and how they told me what the process would be. And that even though she was addicted, okay, and had 5 medications in her body when she passed, that we could wait. You had to wait, I believe it was 3 to 5 days, okay, before they can cleanse out her organs. Not to sound more morbid, but
Hmm.
that there were several things that she could still donate
Wow.
from her body, even though she was addicted. And I didn't think so, because she had been addicted
Yeah.
for a long time,
Yeah.
you know? So I chose to do that. And I chose to help other people. And she was able to donate at least 3 of her
Wow.
body parts. And I sat next to her bed for 5 days before they were able to be removed from her body. She had already passed. She was brain dead at that point. But um, I helped 3 other people out there in the
Wow.
world. She did,
Wow.
so that was important for me to do.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad that you brought that up.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody should think about that and think about, when they do their licenses, their driver's
Yeah.
license. Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, I just thought of something, and this
Hmm.
was in my book, Coming Full Circle, um, about the Eternal Reef again. Okay, there's a special company, and it's in my book. I don't know it right now. I'm sure there's a few of them. Okay, not just one company that does this, but I'm not positive. They they mix your ashes with like some type of concrete, but it's in an artificial reef ball, they call it. And there's whole marine ecosystems out there in the water that we don't know about in certain places of the world. And you can contribute to those ecosystems. And they're used for educational purposes and all kinds of things, but they're like really cities under under the water with
Wow.
beautiful ecosystems. So they do have a special ship that specializes in that, if you wanted to contribute to that. Okay, so now people are hitting stop because they really think we're not crazy.
We're
We're not.
not. We're
This
not.
is part of what we talk about if
That's
you've
right.
listened to our videos
That's
before.
right. That's right.
The hard things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So here's cremation, and you've got these ashes. And now what do you do? So I happen to wear a dove that has a couple of ashes in it from my husband. When he died, I gave a heart to my daughter, and I gave 2 crosses to his sisters. And then the rest of the ashes went with me up to our favorite place. So there's a lot you can do with ashes instead of just keeping it on the on the fireplace bureau, on the fireplace, in an urn and all. Um, there's so many things you can do.
There are many, many websites now, Lisa, that have all types of jewelry,
Yep. Yep.
right, that you can incorporate ashes into. And the mind-blowing one for me, I think I put this one in the book too, was a diamond.
Me
You
too.
can actually have
Yep.
those ashes made, and you're paying $25,000 or something. It's some huge amount to get
Yes.
this diamond. But I wanted to bring something up too, because you brought up the natural burial, but didn't elaborate too much on that. And I just wanted to elaborate a little bit. It was sticking in my mind. So what it is, and law, certain, all states, I believe, have certain laws. So you have to find out what their
Yes.
particular laws are. But what it means is that you are wrapped in a biodegradable shroud, which is a cloth, okay, that's biodegradable, and a biodegradable casket, okay? And you won't be embalmed. There's no embalming, and it just allows for natural decomposition of your body. And there are many places now that have cemeteries for this. So if that's something that interests you too, you can do your research into that. I
Yeah.
just want to mention that because we didn't say too much about that.
Yes. Yes. And then art. Listen to this. Ashes can be put into paint and you
Oh
can
yeah,
paint with them. I
yeah.
mean, these are things that I really hadn't heard of. Stained
No,
glass, pottery,
yeah, yeah.
clay, even
So
just ashes for ink for a tattoo.
yes, so okay, so we talked about, I think a lot of families do after their loved one passes, and they all get matching tattoos. Well, there are tattoo artists now that mix the ashes in with the ink, like you're
Yes.
talking about. So
Yes.
tattooing is definitely one. Um, there, I have an Etsy store that I sell a lot of gifts for grieving. Um, After a loved one passes. And one of the products that I absolutely love, and I went as far as doing the research on how to do this, because I have a creative part of me
You
that
do.
likes to create things. And it's a beautiful, beautiful picture. And I bet you, if you go online often, you've seen them before and not even know that they can be used for this. So it's with resin, okay, and paint that you add colors to. And it's usually a beautiful on a canvas. And they actually teach you how to do an ocean scene,
Hmm.
okay? And it's with a heat gun and everything, so it looks like you're making waves while you're doing this. But
Hmm.
the bottom part of it is beach sand,
Wow.
and it's not really beach sand. It's
Hmm.
your loved one's ashes.
Right.
Okay, and then you can put color over that, and then the whole thing is totally resined. They do them in different sizes. I didn't even have that on here today, but it's so beautiful. They do them in smaller sizes. You can get a big one for your living room wall. And I don't know how I would feel about that. I think it might be kind of cool. I'm not sure, but I love the process of doing it, and I love the beauty. I love the beauty of it. They're absolutely beautiful, glossy, beautiful. Um, with my husband, when he passed, I had them take his thumbprint before they cremated him, and they have the thumbprint jewelry. It's just his thumbprint that hangs on a chain from around their neck. So I did that for them.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
What
And then, of
else?
course, all the cryogenics thing that you mentioned, people trying to hopefully live forever and hundreds of thousands of dollars, believing that they're going to be reincarnated and come back. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And
And
some
they
people,
also have donation to body farms, believe it or not.
yes, yes,
Okay, where you're donating your body for science and to study the
yes,
decomposition of your body and to do some different things.
that's right. That's right. It's an interesting topic and it's an important topic. I mean, I know that some people put, you know, they wait to do their wills and they don't want to do this and that, but you really do need to think about these things while you're healthy, while you're in good shape, while you're thinking clearly, so that, your wishes and really it's for everyone else. What, what are they comfortable with? What is important to them as well, you know?
Lisa, I saw a company who makes a self-sustaining ecosystem for your home. I would imagine it would be in the size, we used to have a really big fish tank upstairs. I imagine it would be something like that. And it's self-sealed and the ashes go in there in a beautiful way. So there's a company that does that also. There was one thing that I wanted to tell you about that I never heard of before. And it was really, this is strange, but they call them memory crystals. And they have a way that they can encode your DNA along with your life story into a crystal for future generations. Now,
Hmm,
I'm going to just read what I wrote down here
okay.
because it was really mind-blowing to me. So the memory crystal is an innovative and futuristic method of preserving personal information after death. What it is, a memory crystal, is also known as 5D data storage or Superman memory crystals in slang. It's a cutting edge technology for data preservation. So they used femtosecond laser writing to encode information into this structure, which is quartz glass. And by doing this, you're preserving your loved one's legacy after death. So for the DNA preservation, a person's complete DNA sequence can be encoded into the crystal, potentially allowing future generations to access genetic information from their ancestors
Wow.
and life story storage. So beyond just genetic data, the crystals can store vast amounts of information about the person's life, including text, images, and even video.
Wow. Wow. High tech. Wow.
I've never, and it just says that the method offers a way to create a lasting high-tech capsule of one's existence,
Hmm.
allowing future generations to access detailed information about their ancestors or historically significant other individuals. It's a blend of personal legacy preservation and cutting-edge data storage technology.
Wow. Wow.
Did you ever hear of anything
Never
like
heard anything like that. No. But technology is really advancing. And so I guess we shouldn't be surprised, huh? It's amazing.
there's a company that loads ashes into ammunition
Whoa.
if you are hunters and want to go
Yeah.
on a final hunting trip or
Uh-huh.
target practice. Wow. There's a company that makes hourglasses. I think that's kind of cool, only because I've watched Days of Our Lives since 19, I'm not telling you what year I was born. Um, And they have the hourglass on Days of Our Lives. I love hourglasses. And I bought one recently at Home Goods. I saw one about this big and it's in my living room. And it's really cool. But I didn't know that they have a company that puts your ashes into that.
Uh-huh.
Why
Oh
would you
boy.
want to do that? I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wind Chimes is another one, a
Wow.
company that puts your ashes probably in the hanging crystals or chimes, I imagine. I didn't get a picture of that.
Wow.
Um, I'm just imagining in my head, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
stained glass, people do stained glass, like you said.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, for artists, they put ashes into pencils, turn
Uh-huh.
them into graphic pencils so that you can use them as art. This one I really don't quite understand. Frisbee ashes. So they mold your ashes into a flying disc for eternal games of catch and frisbee.
Wow.
What? So you see, we said at the beginning that
Yep.
some of these were a little wild, and
Yeah.
they are, but it's really to, oh, what about the rocket launch?
Yeah.
Okay, you can
That's,
pay a lot of money
oh yeah.
and fireworks to have them explode with your fireworks.
Yeah. Money can basically buy almost anything.
Almost. Do you want to know about the Tibetan sky burial now?
Sure, go ahead.
I'll
Hmm.
try.
Okay.
So they have a ritual where I don't know what they do. I didn't get that deep into it, but somehow dissect your body and open it as much as possible. And then they take it to the mountains and they leave it in the mountains for the vultures to come back down and
Yep. Yep.
read my mind. So that one I really did not like.
Hmm.
Uh,
Mm.
but Tibetan sky burial, I bet you it's a popular thing there. And this is it's all in your belief systems, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
What you're comfortable with.
I hadn't
Right?
heard of this one. They have ashes surfboards. They can incorporate your ashes into the resin. Again, it's resin because
It's
you know
resin.
that's nice and shiny.
Right, right, right.
So they can incorporate it into that.
Wow.
There's a company that also makes water fountains for your yard, backyard, and incorporates. I would think they would melt. I don't know. There's a company that makes eternal sand castles
Huh. Wow.
that you could put, and oh, ashes in a kaleidoscope. I kind of like that. I like kaleidoscopes,
Wow.
and you
Wow.
choose the design. So there's such a wide range of options, right? That
Yeah.
we've talked about today, from eco-friendly alternatives to creative and personalized memorials
Yes.
to jewelry. Take a look at some of the jewelry sites. There's other things on, not just jewelry,
Yes.
things that you can incorporate in your home to
Yes.
incorporate the ashes. And don't feel that it's something that you have to do either. Every funeral home director that I've ever met will be more than happy. You either leave it at the funeral home until you decide what you want to do, which is really nice that they'll store it there for you. They have a downstairs usually where they store your ashes until you want to pick them up. But then, if it is a piece of jewelry, if it is individual vases, if it is whatever unique way that you'd like to use your ashes, they will do it for you. So don't think that you have to take it home and lay it
Right.
out on your table on newspaper and with a
Right.
spoon. And you don't have to do all that.
Right. Right.
They're really great when it comes to helping you.
Yeah, I want to give credit to Rod Broker because he's actually the one who came up with the whole presentation, which was very entertaining for all of us, and a topic that is very difficult for many, many
Sure.
people. And the way he presented, he was so incredibly present and relatable with all
Yeah.
of us. Really, I want to give his email in case people want to ask him some questions because he's really interesting. It's Rod Broker, Broker at AOL.com. RODBROKER at AOL.com. I really appreciated his presentation and and the tone of it. And I told him so
Yeah.
because I think, yeah, and the audience, I mean, there were at least 80 people in the audience, maybe more.
Wow.
And they really received it well. You know, they're retired. It's a retirement community. You know, we're all
Yeah.
5 and older, and most of the people in that room are 60s, 70s, 80s. So, you know, they're thinking about this. And it was a great,
I think it's wonderful, and it sparked the idea for us to do a video about it. It sparked it in you. You know,
yeah,
we hadn't thought about that really before.
yes, yes,
Even though we both know a lot about the topic, I think that it's great that he's doing this in groups with so many people.
Me
It
too.
starts the conversation. And I like that you smile when you talk about it, because it wasn't a Debbie Downer type
That's
of
right. That's
presentation.
right.
He kept it light, and everybody got to share their thoughts and feelings on it. So that was
Yes.
really great. Thank you for that.
Sure. Sure. And thank you for all the explanations and explorations that you've done as well, because there are a lot of options out there that people really don't know. And they need to figure it out. It's life and death, and we talk about this all the time. Death is part of life, period. Both of us have, in the recent weeks, have gone through a lot of deaths. And I have personally, people who are very close to me. And it's, we didn't expect it, and both were shocking, and it's sad because they've now left us. But these are important conversations to have.
Absolutely. And that's why we do this channel, you know. Eh, Having the conversations is the first step. Um,
Okay.
I had something on the tip of my mind just now, and it went right out there. Yeah.
Now, in the meantime, if people have feedback, remarks, suggestions, or anything like that, post them by we have over 130 videos now, and pick out the ones that are relevant to you and resonate with you, and give us comments. We really welcome, your suggestions and your feelings about what we talk about. We talk about things that other people do not. They should, but they don't.
Yeah.
So we are very honest, very open people. And you don't get that from society. So we're doing something that we
Again,
really feel.
it's all in the pre-planning, right? So you think about this ahead of time, think of your wishes, but it's the same thing with, what I do in my full-time career as a legacy specialist. So I have 5 different projects that I work on with people, and they're so grateful once they do it,
Yes,
but they don't often think about it beforehand. Or
yes.
I'll wait till the rainy day, and then that
Hmm.
rainy day never comes. And how many people do I talk to that say to me, "Oh my gosh, I wish I met you last year, before my mom passed, before my dad passed." So that's some part of your pre-planning process,
It is.
because it's really important. We are all the ancestors of tomorrow. And it's important to show our future generations that they have a connection in the
Yes,
world,
yes.
that
And
they're
don't wait.
connected to
Don't
something.
wait until you're sick. Don't wait until you're dying. Don't wait until, you know, now is the time when you're happy, when you're thinking about your life. The work that I do with my granddaughter is great. I have a book. It's a very simple book, but she writes down. She asks me the questions. We try to do this like once a week. She asks me a question and she writes down my answer. And it's really nice for her and I. It's our special time together. She's 12 and
That's
a half.
perfect. That's beautiful, and everybody should do that.
Yeah.
Um, I remembered the thought. It flew
Okay.
back in now.
Okay. Go ahead.
So, even if somebody doesn't prepare, and you heard them 20 years ago say they wanted to be cremated, but the whole idea of that urn, either in the top of your closet or in your living room on a shelf. It's just, don't get me wrong. I've seen a movie where a woman carried around her urn in her bag because she
Yes.
wanted her husband close to her all the
Yep.
time.
And I've heard that to try and bring them on vacations and stuff.
That's right. But I have personally, oh, this is just me, have always had a problem with urns, because urns mean there's a dead person in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sad to me. It's just not a happy thing. So
Yeah.
we knew we were going to cremate my husband. And then, his wishes were to sprinkle half of his ashes over his father's grave. And I don't care what you do with the other half. right? Go somewhere, go on vacation, take the other half, let me blow in the breeze. He wasn't picky. That was what he said through his life. So we have him cremated. And now I don't know what to do because if I come pick him up, they give you a little plastic container. You really have to buy the urn by on your own.
Right.
Or they could buy it for you, the
Right.
funeral.
Right.
And I didn't want an urn in my house, right? Because I just have a thing with them. Well, I found a website and I just figured we'll end on this note. And it is a beautiful wooden box. I would say half the size of a shoebox.
Okay.
Okay. Beautifully stained and carved into the wood and engraved his name, our dad, whatever you want, the year, or just a nice little saying, on the front and on the top. But on the very top, it's about a 1/4 inch down, a piece of glass, and you could put a 5x7 photo in there.
Nice.
So I had a great picture of the four of us at a Yankee game. That was sports very big in my family with 2 boys. And I put that photo right in the top.
Nice.
And it did come home with us because my boys made that decision at the end. They made it for me. They said, we want Dad here.
Nice.
We want him here. They didn't want me to go and spread him anywhere, or, it was important for them.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And I didn't really like it, but when they said it like that to me, and when I found the perfect
Yes.
stained box with our photo on it, and it made it okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he's still in the other room, the living room. If you want to see one day, Lisa, I'll show it to
So putting into the perspective of what the other family members want or would make them feel, better. I mean, that's in consideration too.
you. Yeah.
My kids didn't care, but I knew that the ashes and a few pieces of jewelry would be really nice. And that
Yeah.
was good for them. But beyond that, I did what he and I talked about. There was a special place. We met in Syracuse, and that's where he went. So,
Conversations are hard, but
yeah,
I hope you see, if you're listening to this today, how important
yeah,
those decisions are.
they are.
It, they're really important, and it's okay if you want to go into a
Yeah,
very expensive wooden box or a
sure,
$100 wooden box. You can
sure.
even buy them on Amazon, by the way. I
Yes.
watched an incredibly beautiful video on YouTube that showed a coffin, cardboard coffin, bought on Amazon. And what they did was they had their grandfather or grandmother, whoever it was, her remains. It was a beautiful summer day. And they had 50 people, family members come, and they had all kinds of crayons and paint and artwork, and people wrote messages on it and painted it. And it was as beautiful as can be.
Wow.
And then I believe that they did take it to the funeral home, helps you with that, and they take it to a green burial ground where
Mm,
it can be buried just like that. But
nice.
it was actually a beautiful video if anybody's ever interested in looking on YouTube for that. I didn't think it would be,
Yeah.
but it was,
Mm-hmm.
to see
Mm-hmm.
the family come together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are options out there, and I hope you still like Lisa and I. We've tried to
I hope
give
so
you
too.
some of those and make it a little easier. If you have any ideas for topics regarding end of life before, during, or after, because we do a lot of those videos, please send us a message, call us, our information's right there, and we'll do a video around some of the things you're looking for. But until then,
Mhm.
thank you for joining us today.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
And we'll see you when we see you.
We will. Okay. Take care.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah. Bye.